Yeah, it's not, you said it's not good.
Okay. James, you're good starting now?
Yeah, I'm just saying that.
Yeah.
Hey guys, what's up? I'm James from ACM. Welcome to our technical workshop. So we have Matt, who's our vice president, and we also have Christine, who is the technical lead of WICSE. But before we get started, I just want to make a quick announcement. So we were supposed to have XRP Ledger, like a blockchain company, come out, I think yesterday, to do like a quick little workshop about their company and their tools. But that's going to be rescheduled to next week on Wednesday. If you want more information, we'll be posting some more information on our Instagram and also in our Discord. So yeah, if you're interested in that, check it out. But yeah, I'll pass it over to Christine and she'll get the workshop started for you guys.
Hello guys. My echo. Okay. I'm Christine. I am WICSE's tech lead. So please come to our technical interview prep sessions. It's Thursday, 6 to 7. Also in Matherly's. But let's get started. So this is WICSE and ACM's collab here. Please sign in if you haven't. Has everybody signed in? Okay, so we're going to talk about some technical interview tips and things to consider, and also about how to prepare yourself and give you guys kind of some scheduling tools and tips to kind of prepare for your next technical interview. Okay. Awesome. Okay. So what to expect in your technical interview? So there is, obviously we have like the iconic leak code questions, right? These are 2 to 3 questions that you kind of whiteboard or work on with on an IDE with your interviewer. However, there's also different types. There's like a system design question. So remember to research about the company that you are going to interview with, because they have different types of interview rounds. And like these system design questions, you basically are creating like classes for a specific purpose, for example, like memory allocator, or like depending on like maybe for a specific game or something. But understand don't always obviously understand like leak code and leak code patterns, but also research about the company and understand that there is questions outside of those leak codes, so you are more prepared and not just go in a technical interview expecting leak code, but they give you like a system design, right? So research on the company, and that way you're more knowledgeable. Could you? Thank you. Okay, so how to prepare? Okay, so I'm pretty sure you guys have heard of like these lists, like Blind 75, like Grind 75. And kind of, if you haven't, use these as kind of lists on kind of where you want to get started, because there's so many leak code questions, right? But there's specific data structure concepts you want to focus on, or like you want to kind of section out that you want to focus on. So these lists, they kind of run through all of the different concepts, pick specific questions for you, and that way you don't have to be like looking for which kind of leak code questions is specific for that data structure concept. Next is that when you're leak coding, when you're trying to like grind, understand the concepts and understand which kind of concepts hold priority, and kind of study like that, right? Because you may think that something's really hard, or like a concept extremely hard, right? And you kind of neglect maybe the easier concepts, right? But there tends to be a pattern with what kind of questions and concepts you do expect. So maybe focusing on like the tactic more than trying to like do everything and try to say, oh, this is the hardest, so I need to like grind the most. But there's kind of like a tactic to studying for these technical interviews. Okay, next is the priority list. So this is all the list of the different data structure concepts and kind of the frequency of when you might see these questions. And these are, you guys can take a look. There's high, medium, low. You could kind of use this to kind of see which kind of data structures you want to prioritize, especially if you're not on a time crunch. You kind of be like, oh, I'm not going to be like, I don't know why math and geometry is here, but like you won't be doing binary when maybe arrays or a different concept is more likely to appear, right? So next, okay, awesome. So this is like a 4-week schedule. Like let's say you have a month to prepare or you're kind of like crunch time. This is kind of a schedule where you can use to kind of focus on what data structures you want to focus on. So here we have week 1, 2, 3, and 4. These data structures are like array, which they kind of schedules on how long you want to work on them, right? And let's say you have a month and yes, question. Okay, go ahead.
What is this?
So this is just based off of like the frequency of like how often like a question would occur in a technical interview. So like when we say like priority, we mean like the frequency of like what data structure this data structure would like appear on your technical interviews. So next we have a scheduler. So this is specific for Grind 75, which is a list for this person. He created a list for the data code, but this is a scheduler where you're able to kind of adjust how many weeks you have to kind of prepare for your technical interview and kind of modify and change, which this is a picture, but if not, if you could open the link, basically you can adjust the schedule. So let's say you have 3 weeks and let's say you work on it for 40 hours a week. They kind of gives you and prepares you on what kind of data structures you can focus on. And if you scroll down, it'll kind of give you a list of week 1, let's do these. And then and then week 2, week 3, depending on what you're kind of cultivating, kind of like, how many time you have basically. Yeah. And so if you guys want to take a look, it's this tech interview. What does that say? Tech interview handbook. I was like one the book. Okay, handbook.org/grind 75.
I'm gonna post these slides.
Yes. So you can get these links. Yes. Next is just some tips. So when you're in a technical interview, always be talking to your interviewer. So always let them understand what you're thinking about and how you're processing the question, because with that, they could help you, because interviewers are kind of also trying to help you, right? So don't feel overwhelmed when you're like stuck on something. Constantly be talking to them and be like, okay, so maybe I do need help here. So what you could go ahead and just ask the interviewer, like, oh, what do you think would be a good data structure I could use here? Or how do you think I could improve, right? So that kind of gets you, instead of sitting there and waiting and having like head empty. So let the interviewer be a guide and a helper, but also know your stuff. Next is view every interview as a learning process. So don't be like discouraged and feel like I like did horribly. Like how can I not know this data structure? Just know that it's a learning process. And like once you know that, okay, this is the data structure I need to focus on, then you can cultivate or focus on that specifically. And next time you'll know what to expect. Okay. So next we'll be talking about the leak code patterns, and Matt's gonna.
Hello? Okay. I can still stand here. Okay. So I'm gonna go over like a quick intro to sliding window, and then I'm gonna put like a leak code easy using sliding window up, and I'll give you guys like 10 minutes to try it. And then I mean, you don't have to like actually solve it. And then I'm gonna go through a live coding of like how to solve it, I guess. I'm gonna be using Java, if that's okay with like everyone, just because I know Java the best. All right, so first I'm gonna go over the umpire method. So this is kind of like a general method to what you should kind of do during technical interviews. So this is from like CodePath. I did like the interview prep course for like 2 weeks, and then I was like, I don't want to.
We were in the class for 2 weeks and then.
I was like, I don't want to be doing leak code from 1 to 3 on Saturdays, so I just dropped the course. But this is something that they had that I thought was really helpful. So the first step is to understand. So you ask your interviewer like questions about the input, output, like edge cases, like what you kind of have to do, and like make sure that you know like what the problem is solving, like what you have to do. So you don't want to start like coding when you just don't know what you're solving. So that's why it's helpful to like talk to the interviewer. And then the next step is match. So you look at the question and be like, all right, like this kind of looks like a tree problem. This kind of looks like an interval problem. So you kind of match it to something that you know, like an algorithm that you know, or a data structure that you know. And then you kind of write that out and be like, oh, I'm going to use a linked list to solve this, or like this looks like a linked list problem. So then you go to the plan step, and this is where you start writing out pseudocode. And you should do this like on the IDE in front of your interviewer so that they know your thought process and they can save it for later. So you write out your pseudocode, you talk about how you're going to solve it, the algorithm that you're going to do. So after you do that, you should ask for like tips and like, does this look right to your interviewer? Be like, this is how I'm thinking of doing it. Is there another way I should be thinking? Like, does this work? And then after they're like, all right, yeah, that looks good, then you should start implementing. So you actually write the code for your algorithm. This isn't super important, I feel like, because a lot of times they're not expecting your code to compile. So they just want you to put down code. They want you to solve the algorithm is their like main goal. And then after you do that, you review it. So you talk about like how your code works, like what edge cases, what the output is going to be for that, and start going over like, oh, then like what's the time complexity, like things like that. And so that's also evaluate. So then when you evaluate, be like, oh, I could do this better. I could maybe improve this if I had more time, or things like that. Yeah.
So when you say they don't expect your code to compile, that means you have gaps in your code, right?
Like your syntax doesn't need to be perfect. So like if you don't know like a function like sort, like exactly what's supposed to go into it, like you can just put like sort. Like you don't need to know the exact like semantics of each thing.
If, one day know that you don't have full knowledge of the.
Well, like it depends on like your interviewer, but I feel like a lot of times if you're writing out a solution in Java and it's not in an IDE, like they're not like expecting it to like compile necessarily. Like, yeah, so like you're gonna have probably some like small syntax errors and things like that. So it doesn't need to be perfect is what I'm saying. It's more important that the algorithm is right and that you like tell your interviewer like what you're thinking, like, and they know that you know how to solve the problem. So you don't need to worry too much about like syntax. Okay, so here's sliding window. So the main idea is to make like a window of size K or whatever size that you want it to do. It can also increase or decrease size. And then you want to check a condition for this window. So, there's certain problems that this will be helpful for. So some of the problems that use it are like subarray, contiguous array, substring. So this is where like you create a window and you check a certain condition and you either advance the window or expand the window or compress the window. So you kind of want to do something around that. So, all right, so we're going to go our first example, max average subarray. So I'm going to give you guys like 10 minutes. Just try to solve it. You don't necessarily have to solve it. And then I'm going to go through the solution. So I'm going to start with the umpire, just start writing it down while you guys are like kind of looking through it. Yeah, maybe hand out some.
Alright, guys, we're gonna start handing out some props. Yeah. Yeah, and I can.
guess we just pass it out to whoever wants to. You just have them out.
Yeah, you can use whatever you want. I'm just. Malab.
Anything? Yeah.
You watch this. You watch this.
Yeah, if you guys want seconds, they'll be up here. You can just come up and grab them whenever.
I did the other day. No, I did not like. Especially when we guys.
Yeah, I think it's, I'll try to avoid all the negative ones. No. Like, I would divide it as, how do you go? Natural, and then it says what's natural, so like, so we got hold on.
What I try to do is.
Max, I. What do you do? What do you mean? Oh, my God. I do have to leave. Thanks for coming though. Yeah, just really appreciate it. Yeah. What was it again? Virtual. Oh, I was in the Discord. Yeah. It's nice to meet you though. Yeah. Definitely come to our next event. Yeah. Wednesday if you have time. Yeah. The crypto, XRP, coming. Yeah. That's it. Thanks. Thanks. Appreciate your role.
All right, do you guys want a couple more minutes or? There's like two more. Three more. James is snagging all three right now.
Anyone else want?
Nobody wants sugar cookies?
Very good. Wait, is that what you did? Why it's so slow? This is the best in Well, you see, you're. Yeah, you're right. That's it. Yeah, I guess. Good. Oh, I see. I should be doing this stuff. Yeah. Oh, that's what I did. Right. Well, I did that. Yeah. I used to for yeah. Use one. The space of it. I didn't do like that. Oh, yeah. So I don't know something. Something about how to do it. I don't know. Make it rest and make it run. Nine. That's 29. I think if you wrote that, 29, I'm like, it's for now. Nine. Like, very awesome. Yeah, we got it. That's interesting. He was just like, okay. Well, I should get checked. And you can go. Yeah. So this county has some honestly. No worries.
Alright, how's everybody doing? Awful, terrible.
Right.
Switching your major right now.
Going back to biomedical.
Yeah. I don't know, I feel like biomedical might be harder.
So. At least I don't know what's happening, or does anyone else think that?
Yeah. Alright,
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I have
Yeah.
I have another club that time.
yeah, no, you're good.
You're gonna post the slide.
Yeah, I'm gonna post the slides and a recording.
Alright,
So,
thanks so much. Thank you.
yeah, yeah.
I'm bad.
No, you're good.
Yeah, I'm already. Nothing wrong, bro, you should get to.
Assembly, if you're not in assembly, like it's not running fast enough.
Oh, go. Okay, then. WICSE. I used your lane before. I think it was. It is called going. I see. I think go, I think. So you put a go. Yeah. You don't like you type it early. You type it early. I feel like there's a more. What is somebody go to the evening. That's what I think program. Just do it in your.
No, I don't want to.
I don't want to say that. Yeah, oh, it's not the other one. We always understand concept. Totally doable.
Alright, I'm gonna start going through the understand part at least. So for the understand part, I'd probably start with a couple test cases. So LeetCode already gives you test cases and stuff. So you don't really need to do that for LeetCode. But if I was in an interview, I would kind of put some examples. So like this one is 112, -5, -6, 530. So I kind of put the output and what like exactly it was calculating. So like for this, it'd be this window, 12, -5, -6, and 50. And then the average is just divided by 4. So it'd be 12.75. Then I'd go just one number, k equals 1, and the output's gonna be 5. If there was an empty array, probably return 0. If k was 0, then I think it'd just be 0 because the window is 0. And then maybe write out some constraints. I mean, LeetCode already gives you this, so you don't have to go too much. And then I'd match it. I think it's a sliding window problem. It's kind of what it's supposed to be. And then I'd start planning out. So I'd start with probably like an example, and actually go through it. So if I did just a simple 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, I'd start with a window from 1 to 2 as the first one and check if it's the max average, and then set it to that. So that's 3 divided by 1.5. And then check the next one, the next window from 2 to 3. And so is max. And then set it to the new max average equals to 2.5. And then the last point would be the last window, 3 to 4. And then max average would be whatever, 7 divided by 2, 3.5. And then I'd probably write out some pseudocode, but I don't think I necessarily need to do that because I'm just going to write out the code right now. So first thing, I would make a max variable for the average. So max, and it's a double. So double max average equals, and I'd make it the integer min value, so that no matter what average it is, like if it was like negative, like just the array was -1 and the window is 1, like you don't want the max average to be 0, so I'd put it the minimum value possible to start with. Then I'd also have a start of the window. So this would be the start window variable. And then I kind of want to just loop over the entire array and check for each window of size k if it's the new average. But I'd also need to keep a current sum variable. So the current sum, you'd add a value every part of the list, every index of the list, I'd add it to that current sum. So when it gets to the first window of size k, it would check, all right, is this the max average? It'd set it to that. And then and then I'd decrement start and remove it from the sum variable. And then the next window, I'd add the end again and check, all right, does it equal the size of the window? And then check, is it the new biggest average? So I feel like some pseudocode, or some code might make more sense. So I'm going to loop over the array. Plus. So yeah, let me make a current sum variable. So I want to keep the current sum at each window. And that's how I'm going to get the average sum. So first things first, I'm going to do current sum plus equals the end of the window. And then I'm going to check, all right, is the current window the size of k? So every time that the current window from end to start is the size of k, I'm going to check if it's the new max average. So I'm going to do that by doing max average equals the max of the current max average and the new current sum divided by k. So that's going to get, so I'm checking, is the old max average bigger than or less than the current average, which is current sum divided by k. And then after that, the window is going to move over 1. So I want to increment start. And because it's in a for loop, the end will also be incremented after I increment start. Or yeah. But I also need to remove the start from the current sum. So I'd minus it. And and then return max average. So I can kind of write this out and make it a little bit better. So first things first, I'm gonna go from, let's say we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm gonna add current sum plus 1 plus 2, whatever for the first, if k is equal to 2. And then after that, I'm gonna set that to the new average, and then when you minus the 1, it's gonna just delete that 1. This 1. And then that leaves a window of 1. And then when you add the next value of 3, it's gonna be another window of 2, and then you're gonna decrement the current sum again by the first start, and then you delete that. And for each time you check if it's max average. So yeah, does that kind of make sense? Let's see, oh, it's wrong.
But before you start debugging, I just want to say thanks everyone for coming out. ACM is definitely going to be having more workshops in the future. So just keep an eye on our Discord. But awesome work, Matt.
Alright.
And awesome work, Christine. Yeah, I'll see you guys. Don't forget to, did you record him?
Yeah, I'm recording it.
Okay, just send it to me, you know.
Yeah, I will.
And yeah, we'll be posting like the recorded Zoom meeting on like YouTube. Because we're gonna try to start like a YouTube channel, but thanks for coming out, guys.
Yeah. You guys have any questions about this one? About what I did? Anything? Does it make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
Can you also just like keep the sum the whole time and calculate that at the end?
What do you mean keep the sum? You can keep the sum and then have the sum from before and then minus the past sum with the current sum. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, I'm saying that like taking the max of the averages, is taking the max of the sum.
Oh yeah, you could do that, yeah. It's the same exact thing, it's just the divide by k. Okay. So yeah, when I did it over, start, current sum, max average, basically the same thing that I did right before. This has the time complexity, it's O of n. Yeah, so now we're gonna do a little harder one. This one's a medium. I mean, yeah, it'd probably be pretty hard, first one. Do you need help on the first one? I can.
I didn't read summary. I was like, are you guys saying that -5 and -6 is the highest number?
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, I guess keeping track of the lowest amount of numbers. And I was like, oh, I'm stupid. This is how we're. I'm so stupid.
Yeah, like a lot of times you'll like start a question and be like, wait, I'm actually not doing the right question.
Yeah.
Just like,
4 tries, figure the average.
yeah, exactly. That's why the umpire method is helpful.
Like a lot of times when I'm doing like OAs,
Yeah.
like I just go straight to coding. And I'm like, wait, I'm doing this wrong.
I've done it a million times.
Kind of annoying.
I got the word anagram and order. Non-drum slots. That's so hard at the end. That is a palindrome. And I'm just
Equal 3. Equal 3. I think
Oh, really?
The second question.
Oh, I got the same one, yeah. Well, no, it was with K repeats. So it's like kind of like this one, but a little different.
I did the OA, and then the next day I was doing like OA.
Yeah.
I didn't. Yeah.
Yeah, but mine was sliding window too. It was the same like kind of thing. I didn't optimize it, but like, yeah.
I'm waiting for you to you think it's that? Oh my god. Yeah.
These are yes, maybe doing JavaScript, and then just have a bunch of like symbols and everything. Yeah. But then that's true function. So think about like 3 by 1. It's like the
Yeah. You put it in. And I know you put it in. Oh. Said that, I'm gonna do it. You know, I gotta go screen. Like, dude, that works. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, does it? Oh, I didn't do it. Name content. Oh, you're adding. Put it on, put it on. What's it in? Oh, no, it's okay. It's not, that's something that's not, it's no sense. Is it on the show? I'm getting used to that. Whenever you have to listen, whenever you think of it. Yeah, whenever you're nice. Yeah. You said, pretty big.
What a set? Like self? Self is like the current object. Like when it's like, yeah, when you have a class and then it's like function self and then an input, it just means that self is working on that object. Or like that function is within like a class and then,
So you can only call that function on and on.
well, it's within a class, so you can't call it without an object anyway. Okay, all right, are you guys ready for solution? I think you did it differently than how I'm gonna do it. I think. Cause, yeah. Okay, so kind of the same idea, I'm gonna keep, an average, I mean, not an average, a max variable, max substring, start at 0. And then same as before, a starter index that's gonna start at 0. And then I'm going to do another for loop with the n equals 0 and less than the array. Oh, I mean the string length. So for what I'm going to do for this one, I'm going to have a set of characters, and I'm basically going to check, all right, does the end, is the character of the end already in the window? And if it is, then I'm going to remove things. I'm going to increment the start and close the window until that end character is either the only thing left or the character of end isn't in the window anymore. So I'm going to make a set of characters. Here. Hash set. And then. I'm gonna get the current char. And then right here, I'm gonna check. In the current window. And then I'm gonna remove things from the set until the end character isn't in the set. Right. And I'm gonna start. So I'm basically gonna close the window while the set contains the end. And plus, and then I'm gonna update the max subarray variable for each iteration of this. One.
Yeah, it's
Or non.
Yes, change.
Turn. Okay. So does that make sense to everyone? See if it even works. Yeah. Capital. So yeah, there's another S. No, this is the string. The string is S. I'll put 8 and minus start. While set that contains current start plus plus and contains key. Doing something wrong here. Did that move as the chart? And minus start plus 1 XL. Okay, let me just look at the thing, what I did wrong here. Finding window. Let's try it. Oh, this is not in Java. Minus. Did not this one?
Solution number 2.
This one?
But you don't start with stuff. Indeed.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can use the set.
But when you don't insert.
Oh, I don't insert, that's why. My bad. Okay, so that should fix it. Okay. Okay, alright, that works. Does everyone kind of get like what I'm doing there? I'm basically using the set to check, does the window have, or what characters are in the window? Does the next end of the window already in the set, then you close the window until it's not. And then you add it. And then you take the max. So. Make sense? Any questions? No? Alright, yeah, that's about it. I have other problems. Oh, this is a solution I put. This is using a map, but I didn't, you can use a set, it's probably easier, or it is easier. And then I have other problems. I'll post these slides as well. So, yeah, thank you for coming.